Let me start by saying that, and I think I speak for each of our respective principals here, and I know I speak for our Board of Education, that the parent-teacher organizations, our parent leaders in each of our respective elementary schools are critical to our success. And I can't imagine operating our school district over the last couple of years during this pandemic without the enrichment, support, and positivity of our PTO. So let me thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do to help our children, to contribute to our school. You're a big part of our community, and we're so grateful that you volunteer to do this. And we also appreciate that you are in such service to our schools because the children really benefit. As I think a little bit about the proposed budget, one of the themes that I'm going to be talking about throughout the presentation is how we work together as an educational community to not only deliver services to the children, but to do it with excellence, to do it with connection, and to make sure that our kids have support around them. So as I'm going to attempt to share my slides, just bear with me just a bit. I'm going to share and move my screen, and hopefully you will see this. And someone's going to have to let me know if you can see this.
Yes, we can.
Coming up, very good. Okay. So we've really been working on the proposed budget for next school year really since December, as we've been meeting and discussing the budget with our board, within our administrative team, with our staff. And we're very pleased with the way our budget has come out for next year. Every year we start by revisiting our board's goals. We want to make sure that the financial plan that we offer to our community is one that will continue to advance the district and support the priorities of our Board of Education. The Board of Education being the representatives of the community who guide and oversee the direction of our schools. Our board is interested in making sure that we continue to support a safe and engaging school educational experience for every child, with an emphasis on diversity, equity, inclusion. We want every child, every parent, every visitor to our schools, and every employee to feel valued, to feel safe, to feel welcome, and to be successful. Additionally, we try to make sure that our budget has the resources to recruit the best people possible, and I believe we do have the best people anywhere in East Greenbush schools, and our teachers, our school leaders, our support staff, and our parents. So in the area of human resources, we not only have to hire people in what has become a difficult environment right now, but we have to make sure that they feel supported through professional development. And also, we want them to be retained. We want them to stay in East Greenbush School District and serve our students for many, many years in an exceptional manner. So our budget reflects the need to invest in our staff and to make sure that they have the background, the training, and the skills to deliver excellence to the kids. We want to be progressive, we want to innovate, and we want to make sure that we have a pathway for all students. The board is very adamant that the direction of the district include programs for kids that are moving on after high school into two-year colleges or four-year colleges, but also those students that might want to enter right into the workforce or may want to learn a trade or serve in the military. And we know from talking with some of our business advisory group members, there are lots of jobs available in the trades that pay good pay, that don't require a two-year or a four-year degree. And we partner with organizations such as Hudson Valley Community College, some of our trade unions, to make sure that our students understand that there are job opportunities for those kids that may not be inclined to want to go to college. Good job opportunities that can, with a little training after high school, they can enter right into. Additionally, we have more students in our career and technical education programs at Questar BOCES than we've had in a number of years. Those programs are supporting students who are juniors and seniors in high school who want to learn skills that they may be able to apply in the workforce after they graduate. Many of the kids that go to Questar BOCES for CTE do go on to two-year and four-year colleges. Some do not. Recently, actually last Friday, I visited the CTE program, and I was impressed by every student that I talked to, whether it was in the automotive service program, the automotive mechanic program, the cosmetology program, the construction program, the heavy equipment program. Every student in that program had an idea of what they wanted to do when they graduated from high school, and including some who already had a job lined up. So that program is working well for our kids that want to move into those fields. Additionally, we want to foster positive relationships with our parents, with our partners in the community, including BOCES, including the community college, including all of the regional colleges within this area, our business partners. We know that educating our children becomes better when we work with everybody within the community to make sure that we can provide the resources. And that's really what our PTOs have been doing for us for many, many years. We were very honored with the community support that we recently received through the Times Union 2022 Best of the Capital Region. We came out number one, so we have bragging rights. We are considered by the Times Union Best of the Capital Region to be the best school district in East Greenbush, and that's something that we are proud of. That's something that we take pride in because we know that came from responses that came from our community. So very proud of that, in addition to being recognized as a top workplace 3 times within the last 4 years. All of our schools, according to New York State Education Department, standardized measures such as 3 through 8 English language arts and math tests, Regents exams at the high school level. All of our schools are considered to be in good standing, with our academic performance being high above the state average. And what we see in these photos, it's really about engagement, engaging the children so that they are cognitively and physically active in learning, applying their skills to meaningful learning experiences, and engaging with our teachers and with the technology. Some district highlights. There are many things that we are proud of this year. Sue Schreck, who is a 5th grade teacher at Green Meadow, was recently announced by the State Education Department as a master teacher. A New York State master teacher is quite an accomplishment. There is a lot of work that goes into applying to the master teacher program. There's a portfolio that's pretty extensive, but also after you are declared a master teacher, there's a lot of work that you have to do in terms of professional development, collaboration, and opportunities to explore educational practices with other master teachers across the state. So congratulations to Sue Schreck. Additionally, Columbia High School has a 98% graduation rate. That includes last year's cohort of graduates. We have the second highest graduation rate in the capital region of more than 80 schools. That's something that I've always said reflects not only the quality of the staff and the faculty at Columbia High School, but the quality of the staff in every single school from the time those students now enter pre-K to the time that they graduate across the graduation stage. All of the teachers in the district, the support staff, the administrators, and particularly the community and the parents support that effort to get us to that mark of a 98% graduation rate. We should be very proud of that as a community. Along the theme of top teachers being recognized, Emily Chatra, who is an English teacher at Columbia High School, and Valerie Gordon, who is an art teacher at Columbia High School, who also teaches our video gaming class. This year, we're recognized as Channel 13 top teachers. So congratulations to Emily and to Val. And we had another top teacher announced today from Green Meadow. So we're doing really well in terms of our teachers receiving the recognition that they deserve. Additionally, as we came off of a hybrid program into September, we were concerned about possible English language arts reading gaps among our elementary children, particularly our children in kindergarten through 3rd grade. I'm happy to report to you that based on some of the program changes that we made, our students are progressing very well in reading and math in accordance with our mid-year assessments. A couple of things that we did with our federal grant money. We hired 10 additional early intervention teachers this year who are providing extra academic intervention support for children in our youngest grades. We continue to add AIS positions for those kids who need extra help in reading and math. Additionally, we also have a teacher on assignment who is coordinating the early intervention program across all 5 of our elementary schools to make sure that the instructional strategies, the assessment strategies, and the supports are being applied consistently and equitably across each of our 5 elementary schools. Additionally, we have very successful extracurricular programs. We like to call them co-curricular programs, including the Golf Science Olympiad. We have an outstanding program that placed 3rd in the New York State Finals. Additionally, there are lots of extracurricular activities and programs for our kids to engage in at all levels. The 3rd teacher that has been recognized by Channel 13 this year was Miss Couchet, Jamie Couchet at Green Meadow Elementary School. She's a 4th grade teacher, and you can read about her on the website this evening. We just announced that today. Our art department is second to none. We have not been able to have an in-person art show over the course of the last couple of years because of concerns regarding COVID, but our art teachers have told me that they've never had as many students' work featured this year in regional and statewide art exhibits, including this one. Our students at Goff had their artwork displayed at the Empire State Plaza's 13th annual art exhibit. Several weeks ago, our Columbia High School players performed Little Women. And as I've liked to say quite often, it was the best show I've seen north of Broadway. It might have been even better than some Broadway shows that I've seen. The student performances were outstanding. Yesterday, we announced that 2 of our student actors have been recognized for outstanding performance across the region. If you've never seen a performance by the Columbia players, please put it on your calendar for next spring because they are exceptional. So our budget supports engagement, not only in the classroom, but in the arts, as well as athletics and other enrichment programs for our students. Each year and every year, our staff reaches out to the community to honor and appreciate our veterans. And this is something that we do to show that our school cares and to show that our school appreciates the community members who have served in the military and who have sacrificed for the benefit of our nation. Also, the EGTA, the Teachers Association, gathers its members together on Veterans Day to rake leaves for veterans in the community. Many times since I've been the superintendent here in the district, which is now 6 years, people come up to me and say they think it is so important and so appreciated that our district takes the time to celebrate and honor our veterans. And this is something that we've done consistently, even as we've been challenged by the pandemic. So there's a strong sense of community. Our budget reflects the need to continue to engage with the community. Most recently, we had a number of activities, including a benefit for Ukraine. Our Goff Middle School Students Council joined with our Committee for Global Education to stuff a bus for Ukraine several Saturdays ago. We not only stuffed one bus, we stuffed 2 buses. We had to get a second bus and a driver, and we had a special visitor who came down Saturday morning, Governor Hochul, to support our kids. And it was quite an honor and very much appreciated by the students. Our kids bake cookies for the Nassau Resource Center. They donate canned goods for collections for needy folks who need food within the community. This is just a few examples of the number of community service projects and activities that our community is involved in, our students and our staff. Our athletic program. Mr. Leonard, who's been our athletic director for many years, was named this year as the Chapter 2 Athletic Director of the Year by the New York State Athletic Administrators Association. Mr. Leonard will retire in September. It will be a big loss for the district. He's done so much, not only to instill and support the athletic program, but to serve the community with many benefits in terms of our students reaching out and helping where needed. Our program has won 44 sectional titles and 6 state championships. 9 times in a row since the year 2013, our kids have been recognized with the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Award for their sportsmanship, the citizenship that they demonstrate on the tracks, on the courts, and on our fields, and the service that they do for the community. 22 of our varsity athletic programs had a grade point average, academic grade point average of 90% or better. We share this information about our programs and the accomplishments of our staff because we want the community to continue to support the success of our kids through the budget. As we shift to talking about the numbers, in years past, we have talked about the New York State tax cap, and this graph represents what our board has been able to do over the course of the last several years to keep our proposed budget under the New York State cap, which is what New York State says, how much New York State says we can raise the tax levy without attempting to achieve a 60% or a supermajority vote. The blue graph represents the New York State tax cap that was in place each year. The red graph represents what we actually did in terms of the budget and the proposed tax levy. And you can see last year, the current budget that we're operating, we had a 0% tax increase. And again, next year, the budget that you'll be voting on May 17th will have a 0% tax increase. Our tax cap was 4.94%. That is because inflation is a factor that is used to calculate the tax cap, as are the growth in property values. And East Greenbush School District property values are growing at the fastest amount of any district in Rensselaer County. So consumer price index as a measure of inflation and growth in property values are two basis for the formula of the tax cap. That's why the tax cap is so high. However, our board, because we've increased the amount of state aid we're receiving, and we've received some federal resources, and we've been able to manage our monies in years past, thought that was important, particularly as people are struggling with increased costs, family to come out again with a 0% tax levy. So we're pleased to be able to do that and maintain all of our programs. On the revenue side of the budget, the largest source of district revenue is the local tax levy. We yield approximately $58.4 million through the local property taxes. The district also receives payment in lieu of taxes payments from various businesses and industries that are approved for a reduction or an abatement of taxes by the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency. We receive approximately $6.7 million in pilot payments from those businesses, with about 50% of the total amount of pilot revenues coming from the development of Regeneron. Additionally, our state has increased state aid both last year and this year, and we've been informed by the New York State Legislature that it is intent of the state to bring every district up to the amount of aid it is entitled to receive by law by the end of next year. So both last year into this year and this year going into next year, we've received pretty good state aid increases, again, which have enabled us to keep all of our programs and keep our taxes at 0%. We also are using monies that have been set aside to appropriate approximately $6.8 million of our fund balance to the budget. So all in all, our budget is $104.8 million. The large majority of the costs associated with running a school district are in the staff costs, the salaries, the benefit costs associated with teachers, support staff, administrators. About 76% of the budget is reflected in staff costs. But in addition, we also have plans to continue our BOCES services, which is about $6.4 million. That includes not only programs that students attend, but also some administrative programs that we purchase from BOCES because we receive aid back from the state in the following year. So we balanced our our revenues and our expenditures at $104.8 million. We are actually keeping our class sizes low again for next year, generally in comparison to previous years. There are no staff cuts, but in addition, we are adding some staff where we feel we can make those adjustments. We need an additional special education life skills class at the high school based on student individual education plans. Belltop School currently has a part-time librarian on an arrangement with Questar Bosse's. The budget reflects a full-time librarian employed by the East Greenbush School District at Belltop. We have a growing number of students who require English as a new language services. We will need to hire an additional district-wide English ENL teacher to serve those students in compliance with the state and federal requirements. We have enrollment changes at the middle school, which will require some adjustments to provide for social studies. We have a current part-time teacher who will be added an increase of 0.2. Mr. Leonard has requested several varsity coaches. We have supported 3 assistant varsity coaches, including an assistant at girls field hockey, assistants at girls and boys cross country, and an assistant in wrestling. We're going to add a modified 9 program to have a separate program coached by a separate coach for eligible modified students, 9th graders. We're going to add some support to the staff in the Human Resources Office, which has become very busy. And we're going to replace a data position in our technology and data department, which has been vacated since October. We're also investigating and looking into purchases of some new technology. There's a program called Parent Square that's currently being used in several districts in our area. In particular, we had a demonstration and a discussion of that program from South Colony Central Schools. This is a program that we believe will enhance parent communication. It is one platform that can do a lot of things. So we're hoping to streamline the ways that teachers, schools, and the district communicate all through one platform so that parents will know consistently what to look for in terms of communication flowing from our district. Additionally, we're upgrading our current student information system, which is called Power School, to host that service in the cloud. That will enable our administrators and others who need information about students, particularly if there is an issue that occurs in the evening or an emergency of some kind, they can access that information through the cloud data protected service through Power School. There's some furniture and equipment purchases, and also we are putting in additional software to help our transportation operation. We're putting in software that will enable us to electronically know who's on the bus, as opposed to seating charts or ridership rosters. We'll be able to do that electronically. We're also adding technology that will enable parents to look on their phone or their personal device and know where the school bus is. Speaking of school buses, each year and every year, we have a replacement cycle for our aging school buses, those that have high miles, those that have been purchased many years ago. We trade those buses in, and we utilize the transportation reserve, bus purchase reserve, to purchase new buses. These are monies that have been set aside by the district, approved by the community through a vote, for the sole purpose of purchasing buses. And we're proposing this year a proposition to the community to purchase 8 additional buses at a cost of $752,468. The nice thing about the bus purchase reserve is while we spend money out of the reserve, money comes back in the reserve in the form of state transportation aid. For every dollar we spend on a new bus, approximately 68 cents in transportation aid comes right back into the district, and we put it into the reserve to buy future buses. Something new and important that we are proposing this year is a capital reserve. The capital reserve functions very similarly to the transportation reserve. This is a reserve that will enable the district to set aside money for future construction and improvement work in our facilities. We have very nice school facilities, but they are aging facilities. And through the Budget and Review Advisory Committee, we are identifying needs for the next capital project. What this reserve would enable the district to do is to set aside monies that we have within our current budget and to allocate those monies towards the next capital project, which has the effect of lowering the local taxpayers' portions of the project reflected by the interest and principal debt service cost within the annual budget. The community must approve this reserve in order to establish it. The board must approve the funding of the reserve, but the community also gets an opportunity when we come forward with the next capital project to approve whether or not you would like us to spend the money out of the reserve to dedicate towards the project and to lower the borrowing. We can only fund the reserve up to a total of $5 million over a 10-year period, and then we must close the reserve and reestablish a new reserve. So on May 17th, this is what you'll see on the ballot. Proposition 1 will be the proposed budget of $104.8 million. Proposition number 2 will be the purchase of the buses from the transportation reserve at a cost of $752,468. Proposition 3 is the establishment of the capital reserve to set aside monies for future repairs and renovations of our schools, lowering the local taxpayers' portion of those expenses. And there are 3 vacant board seats and an opportunity to vote on 3 candidates for those board seats. The candidates are Jennifer O'Brien, who is currently an incumbent on the board, Michelle Skomersky, also an incumbent, and a new person running for the board, Emily Steinbach. So we have 3 board members running and we have 3 seats. It is an uncontested election. And with that, I will exit my slides and I will take any questions you may have or comments, either verbally or in the chat room. Questions, comments, concerns?
Okay, I'll go. I have a quick question just regarding the taxes. That was a little confusing because the one is so elevated, which I understand, but that does not affect the increase. So
No.
it's still 0. So how
There's
does
no,
that?
yeah, that's a great question. The blue graph was the tax cap. That's the rule. That's what New York State says we can. New York State is saying this year, based on certain, we could raise the tax levy more than 4%. But what we're doing, we're not raising it at all. It's a 0% increase. So a couple of things. One, we'll be collecting the same amount of money from the taxpayers next year as we're collecting this year. Okay, so you should not see an increase. And because our property values in generally are growing, we expect that the tax rates will actually go down. So many, we can't guarantee this for everyone, but many residents will actually see a decline in their tax bills. Is that correct? And then if you want to talk a little bit about that. So it's 0 in terms of the fact that the board approves only how much money we're going to collect. But because of the growth in the property values, the tax levy gets spread over greater value of property, which has the net effect of lowering everyone's tax rates. Linda?
Yeah, Mr. Simons, that was a good explanation. So there are several factors, though, that go into the tax rates, and that is the full value and the assessed value of property. So that changes from year to year, as well as the equalization rates. So all of that is provided to us through Rensselaer County. So it will have an effect on the rates. Some may increase slightly from last year, some may decrease. I expect probably a decrease in most towns, but the dollar amount of taxes that the district collects will be exactly the same as prior year.
Good question. Thank you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? So the only thing I would add, because this is an elementary group, is we are maintaining 8 of the 10 intervention positions that we added to help kids with reading and math. We have retirement, so no one is getting laid off. Teachers that are in those positions now will shift into classroom positions that we have available. And our class sizes on average are relatively lower than the district's class size guidelines. And we believe that those things are important because we do have another year to continue to recover and help kids be as successful as possible. Principals, any comments?
The one thing I just want to add is we're very excited at DPS because we will be we'll have the opportunity to host a third preschool classroom at our school next year, and we're really looking forward to that at DPS, one of the district-wide classes.
I appreciate Mr. Alvey mentioning that. And the other night with the middle school and high school, Mr. Buno mentioned that too. We didn't mention pre-K in the budget because pre-K is being funded through aid received by the state, but also federal monies. But importantly, and just to reiterate what Mr. Alvey said, we're going to have 3 pre-K classes this year, and those locations are DPS, Red Mill, and Genet. So we're very excited about expanding pre-K, and it looks as though we're going to continue to get that aid. And that program will be run under the oversight of the district, but directly through Questar BOCES.
And Mr. Simons, if I could just add that each pre-K classroom will have 18 students. So we are able to accommodate a total of 54 students next year.
Excellent. Thank you, Linda. Mr. Pratt, as the chair of the Budget and Review and Advisory Committee, any comments?
Not at this point. I think you've done a great job as normal. And the big thing at this point is getting people out to vote. This is a great budget. The problem is people think, well, it's great. Why go and vote? It'll probably go through. But we have a lot of no voters out there. And it's up to our people in the PTOs and everybody involved in the district to get out and get people to come in and vote. And hopefully they'll all vote yes. I can say that because I'm not an employee of the district.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. It is true that the turnout is important. We had more than 80% passage of our budget last year, but the turnout was low. We'd love to have a high turnout and a high passage. So with that, if there aren't any further comments, I'll let everybody go out and enjoy what's left of the sunlight. And I really appreciate everybody participating in this forum this evening. Thank you all, and have a safe, healthy evening, and best to you. Don't forget about May 17th. Spread the word to your neighbors and your partners on the PTO. Thank you very much.